I love you in so many deep ways. It's forbidden by my religion and never been touched on before. I make you feel awkward? Made me feel awkward. I just watched it in a movie. Star Wars, the single Attack of the Clones, because seriously, there's actually only one scene in this entire movie that involves clones and robots fighting each other. It's actually, well, I mean, Attack of the Clones, that makes sense. You have the two, well, I mean, clones because there's multiple clones within the army, but it's also droids, which are kind of technically clones because they're made of machine and they're all made by the same manufacturer and everything. I mean, it's kind of clones against clones if you really think about it, but it's a single attack. There's one time on Geonosis where they attack. Now, I remember when I was younger, I used to really like this movie. Whenever people ask me, "Oh, hey, what's your favorite movie, Kai?" I'd say, "My favorite movie?" I didn't have this accent, obviously. I never have, and I'm sorry for offending anyone who has that accent, especially you, Gabe. I'm really sorry about that. My favorite movies are The Attack of the Clones and The Revenge of the Sith, or not Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi. Right, and people kind of give me this look like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. You're 8. That's fine. That's fine. You know, okay." And I was like, why do they think it's weird? I mean, I think it's really cool. It's a really cool movie and everything. Apparently, I didn't remember too much from that movie, and goodness, I don't know who could really remember, because a lot of this movie falls back on, again, boring political dialogue like the first movie did. Now, to give you guys a general synopsis, this movie is set 10 years after the previous one, so we're basically meeting a whole new character. It's like you knew somebody in 3rd grade, right? And then you never see them again, and then suddenly you see them as they're headed off to college, and they're like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" I'm like, "Hey, I have hardly any idea who you are or what's happened to you." And for that reason, it just turns out to be awkward. That's what this whole movie really is. Like, coming into this, I think about Star Wars Attack of the Clones, right? Single Attack of the Clones, rather. And a lot of the movie is boring political dialogue or bad acting, because it falls back on Hayden Christensen, and I'm sorry, but Hayden Christensen, not my favorite actor. It falls back on him a lot for these awkward, forced romance one-liners, And I mean, I understand that there's like a kind of standard, a kind of stereotype that romance plays into, and I'm not the greatest guy to talk to about that, because romance, don't want to, that's just a foreign knowledge to me. Even as a person who has very little knowledge of romance, I can still know when a romance is realistic or not. And I think that, like, points where he's just like, "I hate everything made of sand and roughness, but I love smoothness. I think you're beautiful." It's just awkward. The whole thing, the whole romance thing that George Lucas claims this movie to be, it's not romantic, it's awkward and painful for the viewers, especially those who are older. Now, the younger kids are just like, "Oh, hey, he's being romantic," I guess. They get bored, they go play with their action figures that they bought for this movie, And then they come back, and then you see, like, the Jedi, and they're all, like, throwing down and everything on Geonosis, and Jango Fett gets beheaded and everything, and, like, the whole action scenes, those were the bits that I remember. And that's why I loved this movie when I was a kid, because you saw all these, like, lightsabers light up in the stadium, and then they all come to the rescue, and then there's all these monsters and everything. And it was just, like, a really fun section of the film. But that was a section, that was only a section, and that was, like, the only part of the film that I could say I really enjoyed, that I really remember, and that I still kind of enjoy. I mean, now, because we're in 2016, CGI has come a really long way, and so we can tell now, looking back at the movie made in 2002, when the CGI is bad. And it's bad throughout a good chunk of the movie. It's not terrible. There's some bits that are like, "Oh yeah, I mean, I can live with that," but there's some bits that you're watching, you're like, ugh. A lot of this movie is driven by CGI. You have a lot of CGI monsters, you have Yoda, you have... I'm pretty sure that a lot of the sets are also CGI, because where would you ever find a Coliseum like this and then fill it up with all of these monsters and stuff. You can't. You have to make a set for you have to make a CGI set for that. You have to make the CGI for it. It's kind of scrappy, you know. And I've been going on about CGI way too much. When you take away the CGI from the movie and the action scenes, you're basically watching a boring romance movie. It's just, and it's almost, I almost want to say, like, I've never seen Twilight. I have seen bits of it, and I want to say that this Star Wars thing, if you take away the Jedi and the lightsabers, like the kind of main point behind it and everything, and you keep the same romance in, and then you keep all of the like massive groups of people who are like in a higher power deciding the fate of the universe or whatever, or of these people, it's almost like Twilight. It's almost like you're watching, without the lightsabers and Jedi and fun stuff and explosions and everything, it's like you're watching Twilight. It's like you're watching a bad romance where everyone just kind of makes decisions because it'll set up for the next few movies. And the thing is, I really, like, I'm going a little bit off topic here, but there are videos on YouTube that are like reaction videos where people go and react to popular things, whether that be like a TV show episode, whether that be like a reaction to, I don't know, anything in general. And when I see these videos, it just makes me so disheartened, because these people, and I'm not saying you're bad people, I'm just saying that, like, this is my pet peeve, and I'm sorry for hating on what you've done. Wait, no, I don't want to make this not hateful. Sorry about that. But what I'm saying, like, my pet peeve is that these people that make reaction videos are writing on the coattails of these more popular videos just so they can get more views. And that's kind of how I feel. This is where it comes back around. This is kind of how I feel about this movie and its predecessor and the one after it, Revenge of the Sith, which I hope that Leo will review. The thing is, basically, I think that the prequels are thrown together. They're kind of scrappy, they're kind of loose, they're not, it seemed hasty, it seemed like it was just cobbled together last minute, or like at the very soonest moment, because like George Lucas is like, oh yeah, I have ideas for the prequels, but we don't have the technology yet, and it seems almost like he's like, oh, wait, we have the technology now? Why don't we make a script based off of this? But then we gotta make it a love story, then we gotta involve things that have never been touched on in the Jedi universe before. And it just seemed hasty and bad. It was just a bad movie. I mean, there are good actors to be had here for sure, but it's just not a good movie, and it's riding on the coattails of its far superior predecessors. Quite honestly, if you're going to sit down, I think, and watch one of these prequels, I actually was talking with one of my friends the other day, and he said, "Oh yeah, my brother and I, we watched one of the prequels, and we just skipped all the bad romance bits and the boring political dialogue bits. It was a short movie, but it was much, much more interesting than the original Star Wars. This movie would be worth it if you went out to buy a quarter kilo of beef jerky, and then the people at that were selling beef jerky were like, hey, dude, you are our 132nd customer. Arbitrary number, I know. Why don't you, here, for free, we're going to give you this movie. That is when it would be worth it. So, have you guys seen Star Wars? A single Attack of the Clones? If you have, comment below, share your thoughts. And if you think I missed anything or could have done anything better in this review, also put that below in the comment box below. And thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are awesome, and I will see you on the flip side.
Personally, I like to go with more of the avant-garde fade effect. You know what I'm saying?
How about this?
Don't strong.
Just let me live my life, man.
No, it violates my copyright.
Living in the Barbados Islands with tons of technological powered money. Just wanting to go away, go away, go away, go daddy. Please. You suck!